Greetings and salutations, everybody. Welcome back to another review, and today we are looking at Descendants for the Xbox One, and this is available on Game Pass if you have it, which you probably should. But Descendants is pretty much a downhill racing game. On the surface might seem very simple, but as you hop into it, you quickly realize that not technically what the game is at all. Descendants is majority made up to be a roguelike with reward style game. Since racing is nice and all, since you do get bonuses from getting from point A to point B as quickly as possible, but to be totally honest, that's not what the game is about. So let's back up a little bit and discuss the actual base concept of the game. So the game starts you off as, of course, a downhill biker as you beginning your career into amateur, getting into pro stuff, trying to get sponsorship and whatnot. But what is the most interesting part of this game overall is taking the concept of a normal biking type game and mixing it with a FTL style roguelike, which every track you go into is randomly generated right along with the region itself. Since we have multiple regions from you trying to work your way through the giant map of nodes and actually picking what type of events you want to do. Might it be some that is time focused from point A to point B, other tied to trying to do a certain amount of tricks, other ones are trying to get through it without wrecking X amount of time. The variety here is nice, especially on the level design, but the game does have some drawback in the FTL roguelike style here, which is mainly the whole concept of every level, if it is randomly generated right along with the distant region, most of the time you have a side objective that is totally optional for you, which mainly involve maybe getting to a certain speed, doing so many back flips or front flips and whatnot, so you can do tricks in the game. The only real downside to this is a lot of these side objectives you will be getting over and over and over again in the game, but it's not like you're not being rewarded, and once again they are technically optional. What I mean by that is as you complete each one of these levels, you will have a certain amount of life. So you can only wreck so many times before you kill to quote unquote fail, or to just put it bluntly, not be able to waste any more in the game. So every time you do one of these side objectives, you do get some of your health back leading into the next round, and also completing these right along with trying to get to the level as quickly as possible and doing tricks as possible will reward you with points. You can spend on unlocking little bonuses to just make the net track a little bit easier. May it be making it where you can land a little harder or be able to do tricks a little faster or so on and so on. The only real issue with that is as you unlock the bonuses from distant NPCs in the game, it don't really feel like do a whole lot of anything, and not really a good way to tell when a bonus is actually in effect and when it's not. So that is another little shortcoming right along with the repetitive quests that is in here. But on the upside though, like I said, all that is totally optional, and you getting from point A to point B of what truly matter here. Also what matter is that you can do it at your own pace, because the game itself is made up of you trying to get somewhere but leaving it up to you to actually get there. Don't get me wrong, you do have a trail and some jumps that ideally you want to follow, because that would be one of the better ways to keep track of where you need to go. But with that being said, if you really wanted to, you can totally go off the trail into the open area and find your own way down there. Not ideal, especially for trying to unlock certain things. It's still an option nonetheless if you do want to chance the reward of getting there faster, right along with the danger of being way more hazardous to yourself. So this game is all about momentum and speed and how your character falls through the environment. Might it be from some of the earlier stages being much more woodish area, which can be extremely dangerous, especially at high speed, right along to some more open areas that is pretty much left up to you to figure out. So this game gives you plenty of options to complete your goal, and also the ability to take it at a slower pace if you truly desire it, because at the end of the day, it's all about just getting to your destination. Because as you go through the spiderweb type map and unlock distant events here. Your court will have little special ones every now and again. Might it be ones with like higher turns, some with bigger jump, and as well as once you make it to the end of the spider web, you have to do a quote-unquote bot jump, which is mainly made up of reenacting, I get a better way to put it, like movie stunts. Might it be you jumping over a bridge of a train, jumping over giant holes, trying to do a Pacific jump onto like a castle or whatnot. The jumps can get a little irritating though, because a lot of these are very much designed for you to do it a very Pacific way, which in return kind of go against the basic of the game of being the freedom of going downhill on a bike. But once you actually complete the bot challenge, you will move on to a brand new region, which once again will be randomized. Once you lose in that region, you will go all the way back to the start of the game. But do not worry, you do not lose as much as you might assume by having to restart the game, any if you make it a couple hundred level deep. You of course do have shortcuts you can get unlocked by completing previous level multiple times, mainly making it all the way to the ball jump and completing it. After you do that a few times, you will unlock shortcuts and ability to actually teleport around to whatever region you want to. And right along with that, we do have another separate whole region that it made up of sponsorships. So as you go into the roguelike map, every once in a while you might see an option to do a event for a sponsor. If you complete it to whatever the rules of that sponsorship is, you can not only unlock outfits and bikes and upgrade for your character and equipment, you can also unlock brand new exclusive regions that is locked behind sponsorships. So in return, the replay value is pretty high here, and any more so with you trying to unlock the harder track, getting more items, and honestly just trying to better yourself in the randomly generated downhill game. And then on top of that, we also have some multiplayer stuff, which is mainly made up of hanging out in a open hub area, just going around doing stunts, trying to better yourself as far as your trick timing is concerned. Multiplayer is kind of lacking. And then on top of that, we do have a map generator or a map creation system, which is not nearly as interesting as it might seem at first. So the majority of it is you selecting how many curves do you want, how many jumps you want, and then it will randomly generate a map to that desired outcome. The problem is that a lot of these are extremely boring and quite void of any sense of character, so the option is not the most ideal case. But we do have some other things here that might interest you, is called the soundtrack. The soundtrack itself is very melodic, I guess is the way to put it. At least for me, a lot of the music kind of just blend together, and outside of a handful of tracks, don't really feel like it fit the motif of the game. So the soundtrack is not exactly the best. And then the other thing not exactly the best is of course how junky a lot of the menus and load times are. A lot of the games seem like, at least on the design front for this stuff, is a little more clunky and a little more, hideous on the eyes in a lot of ways. And then the load times, especially with it being randomly generated map, can take up some time and in return become any more tedious just waiting to try to get into the net map. So the game has some downsides with the technical side of the menuing, the load time, the random map generation, the multiplayer not the best, but the game do actually do a decent amount of good things here, especially in the roguelike aspect. Because honestly, being able to go down the hills with different types of map and regions and trying to replay the areas over and over again to not so much get better score, but trying to get shortcuts available into the regions is a lot of fun. It sadly is a lot of fun, Barry, and a lot of clunky and a lot of repetitive game design. But if you do enjoy very simple roguelike, or you just want a downhill BMX style, a game that, like I said, have a great sense of mobility as far as your character moving, and the thrill that comes from controlling your character, especially at top speeds, and a very satisfying risk versus reward, a style gameplay that might be up your alley. If you're not a fan of that type of stuff, this is so to be totally honest at best. So overall, I give Descender a 6 out of 10.